Hey, what's up everyone, Ollie here. So I guess this video basically goes off of the what do I do for a living video that I made a few weeks back or a few months back. Basically a lot of you are interested in, how do I make my money? What do I do? How much do I make? All that sort of stuff. And this video, basically is going to go through what I think you should go through, or what I did anyway, from basically starting from nothing and then going up to charging, $600 a day. I know some out there can even charge even more, but yeah, this is just, what I've done, basically my experience and what I recommend you should do as well. But first I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. They're basically an online community where they have thousands of classes basically covering anything, creative, entrepreneurial, whatever you want to learn, they basically have it. Their premium membership gives you unlimited access, so you can choose the classes right for you. Whether you want to learn a new skill, expand your skill set, or just be creative, Skillshare is the perfect place to learn. And some of the classes I recommend that they have are the UI UX classes and the web development classes. Fantastic classes there. Those are very relevant to this video and are a good way to basically get into UI UX and web development. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable, especially when you compare it to in-person classes or workshops or things like that. It only costs $10 a month when you get their annual subscription. Because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, make sure to check out the link in the description. You'll get 2 months for free, and if it wasn't for sponsors like Skillshare, I wouldn't be able to make videos like this. So when it comes to making $600 a day from web design or app design or whatever else, you first got to make sure that you're interested. Do you actually have a passion for web design, for app design, for things like that? I remember being obsessed with websites since I was basically a child, since dial-up, before we had broadband and stuff, where if you wanted to use the internet, no one could use the phone. If someone did answer the phone, your internet would be cut off. I remember those days, and I remember using the internet in those days and just browsing websites in those days. I used to browse tons of different websites and just mess around with stuff. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just knew I was interested in websites. And I guess that's where the spark and that's where the passion sort of started for me. And then I also remember when apps started coming out on things like Android and iOS. I remember messing around with the Android apps, modifying them, changing them. I've always just had a passion for things like that. So yeah, make sure you actually have a passion for it. Make sure you're very interested in this sort of stuff. Otherwise, I don't think you're really going to find it interesting, and you're not really going to enjoy it anyway. If you are interested, start messing around with programs. So start messing around with Sketch, with Figma or Adobe XD. These 3 programs are probably the most popular programs right now when it comes to web design and app design. They're perfect for visual design. They're perfect for just designing whatever, popular websites and apps that you use every day, such as Instagram, Twitter, and things like that. There are designers designing these services in these programs. So yeah, these are really easy to use. All of these programs have tons of documentation, tons of tutorials, things like that. Sketch in particular has some amazing documentation. The documentation is designed very well, and it basically guides you through how to use Sketch, how to learn Sketch, how to basically get the most out of it. And I use it as well. I use their documentation, the Sketch documentation. I've learned so many different things, so many different tools which I didn't even know existed in Sketch, which make my job easier. Using programs like this, copy other websites, copy other designs you like the look of. If you like a website, if you like an app, copy it pixel to pixel. Try and learn what it is they've done to make their website or make their app look like that. Whether it be text size, whether it be font colors, whether it be font families, whether it be buttons, the colors of the buttons, the spacing, borders, all these different things, copy them. There's nothing wrong with copying these designs. Just don't share them publicly. Use them for personal improvement. Don't share them publicly and be like, hey, this is my work. Don't do that. You just end up looking silly, really. And people can notice copycats from a mile off. So yeah, just use it for personal improvement. Find your favorite services and apps and basically copy them as much as you can, just so that you can see what they're doing and basically see if you can do it too. Once you've got the hang of these programs, start designing concepts. Start designing things that you thought of, whether it be websites or apps or whatever. I used to love designing online magazines such as blogs and things like that. I used to love designing Tumblr themes. I used to love designing wallpaper websites. These were things that I just personally was interested in, I was personally curious about. Design these things. They don't have to be working websites, they don't have to be working apps. Just design them for fun. It's all about designing concepts and just exploring different design ideas. I think that's very, very important. And that's what I used to do a lot. I shared a lot of it on Dribbble, on my Dribbble profile, just because I felt like it was good to show my portfolio regardless, even if it's not a real thing, even if it doesn't exist. Just designing it and putting it out there really helps and can really fill your portfolio up. Once you sort of got the hang of visual design and basically you're able to basically recreate any sort of design, start thinking about user experience, UX. That's probably the most important thing when it comes to building real websites and real apps. It's all about user experience. I personally think the best user experience is an experience that you don't even notice. If a user uses a website or uses an app and you don't even have any complaints and you can do what you want to do with it, that's the best user experience you can get. When designing something like a dashboard or a sign-up flow, think about how you would guide a user through that sort of stuff. Think about how a user would go from step to step through a sign-up form, and how to make it as seamless and as easy as possible. You don't want it to be a tough thing. You want it to be as simple as possible. This is what user experience is all about. It's about making something just easy to use. An example of bad user experience would be something like filling out a form, and if you forgot to fill out one of the fields, you hit submit, and then obviously you get an error saying you've forgotten to fill out a field, but now you've got to fill out the rest of the form as well because all of your entries have been deleted. That is bad user experience, and that's obviously very frustrating. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that, where you filled out a form and then you've had to fill it in again because you forgot to fill in a field. That is incredibly frustrating, and that is what bad user experience is. A good user experience would be keeping all of your information, keeping all of the fields that you've had, and for the browser to go to the field that you've forgotten so you can fill it out. That's what good user experience usually is. Look at your favorite websites and apps and think about, why do you like those websites and apps? What makes them easy to use? What is the sign up process like? What is the actual use case like? How do you use the app itself? And why is it so basically enjoyable to use or easy to use? These are the sorts of things that you should be looking at, and these are the sorts of things that you should be taking into account when you design your own websites and your own apps. I'd say it's actually very easy to make something look pretty, but it's not very easy to make something easy to use. So yeah, user experience is just as important as user interface or visual design. Now, I guess this is a bit more controversial because a lot of people are just like, just focus on one thing, but I always think it's worth learning a bit of code. So I learned HTML and CSS. I'm completely fluent in HTML and CSS and things like that. I know a little bit of JavaScript, nothing too crazy, but learning just a little bit will go a long way when it comes to designing your own websites and apps, because you get a better understanding of what can be done and what can't be done. You get a better understanding of the logic, you get a better understanding of how things would work. And when it comes to making your own websites and making your own apps, you can do it. That's how I started. I basically was trying to make my own Tumblr themes. I was trying to make my own personal website, and I realized, hey, I need to learn HTML and CSS. I don't really want to pay someone else to do it because it's going to be quite expensive, and I didn't have any money at the time. So I basically learned how to do it myself, and now I can do it. I can basically make Tumblr themes, I can make WordPress themes, I can modify things, I can, mess around with websites and stuff, and I can make them look the way I want to. And that's what I've done. I have my personal website, which I designed and coded myself. I have ulxstore.com, which is my online store, my e-commerce store, which I designed and coded myself. All these sorts of things basically just learned because I couldn't afford to pay someone else to do it. I wanted to learn how to do it myself, and it just expands my skill set, and I think it's very important to do that always. A book that I would recommend if you're interested in learning HTML and CSS is this HTML and CSS book by John Duckett. So this book is actually brilliant, and it's pretty cheap as well. Basically guides you through HTML and CSS, the basics, all the way from learning the absolute basics to doing quite complex stuff like building your own website. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Once you've got the hang of UI and UX, I think the most important thing by far when it comes to getting clients is developing your own style. From my experience, clients don't come to me because they're just looking for any ordinary website, any ordinary app. They're coming to me because they actually like the style that I developed, that I have. They look at my portfolio and they see, a clean, minimal, but I'd like to add a bit of luxury as well, I guess, to my sort of style, to my design style. And that's what I found helps a lot when it comes to getting those high paying clients. And they're looking for someone to basically execute that style, execute that vision that they have, and they're going to find a designer which has that specific style, which matches theirs, which matches the vision that they have. So yeah, developing your own style is super, super important. And that's how I think you'll definitely get the higher paying clients. Finally, you want to start sharing your work absolutely everywhere. Basically, just get the word out as much as you can. You know, share it on Dribbble, share it on Behance, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter, share it with friends, share it with family, whatever. Just get it out there, have a portfolio, have a website. You basically just want to do everything you can to get the word out there, to get your work out there. And that's how I gained a lot of my clients when I first started. A lot of my clients came through Dribbble, and they still do come through Dribbble sometimes. But yeah, like I gained basically my first set of clients, you could say, through Dribbble. They saw my style, they liked the look of it, and they hired me for it. And then from there, once you've built like a client list, like a starter client list, they end up referring you to friends, to acquaintances, to business partners, to all these different things. You know, you end up just like going into a sort of snowball effect where, you know, one person becomes two people become four. You know, it just sort of like becomes a snowball effect. You know, you get clients coming in from everywhere where you don't really even have to start sharing your work anymore because other people will do it for you. That's just what I found from experience. You know, just making contacts. It's very hard, no doubt. It's super hard building those sort of like initial clients and connecting those initial clients. But you know, if you're presentable, if you speak well, if you do great work, and you get yourself out there, people, clients and stuff will just come to you, you know, they'll want to work with you. As long as you're easy to work with, they will want to work with you. When you first start, obviously you don't want to be charging anything crazy because you're a beginner, you're basically just getting started. You know, you can charge anywhere like $100 a day, $200 a day, $300 a day, you know, and slowly over time you can start building up your rate, you can start hiring your rate. So, you know, I've been designing for over 10 years now, and I've got to like $600 a day, more than $600 a day, and I'm already thinking about charging even more as I get more clients in and as my demand keeps going up as well. Once you become a lot more experienced, once you've designed some big websites, some big apps for some big companies out there, you know, you can charge quite a lot of money for your services because it shows to that client that, hey, you know, this person has been trusted to design a website or an app for this big company or business that's like multi-million pound business, multi-million dollar business, or $1 billion business, or whatever else it is. You know, if you've got those clients, if you've got that work, then you get trusted even more by other clients as well. I know some designers and developers who are charging a hell of a lot more. You know, some are charging $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a day, which is obviously amazing money, crazy money. But they're very experienced. You know, they've been designing like 15 years, 20 years, and they've designed at big companies, you know, whether it be like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever else. They've designed at multi-billion dollar companies or whatever else. And yeah, like, you know, once you have that experience, you can charge some serious money. I've also noticed from my experience that as long as you have the work and the client list to back it up, you know, most companies, most medium to large size businesses don't even haggle with you on the price. They're happy to pay the price that you charge. If it's like $600, $1,000 or whatever else, you know, they're very happy to pay that because for them, it's just convenience. You know, they want someone who will come in, who will do the design, who will do the user experience, whatever, who knows what they're doing pretty much. You know, that's why they pay top dollar, basically, because they want someone who can handle it. They want someone to handle stuff that they don't even want to think about, you know, because they want to concentrate on running their business. They want to concentrate on their role, and they'd rather have a professional, someone who knows what they're doing, come in and do it for them. And that's why these companies pay top dollar for it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully you learn something, you know, from my experience and from my advice. These are just things that I've learned over the years, things that I recommend doing, and, you know, how I started and how to get to that sort of level. Obviously there's so much more that goes into it, and I love to make more videos than these. So let me know, you know, let me know in the comments below if you like these sorts of videos. Let me know what other types of videos you'd like to see, and obviously make sure to also check out Skillshare. You know, as I said, they're sponsoring this video, and I think they're the perfect sponsor for this video because they have UI, UX and web development courses which are perfect. You know, if you're looking to get into that sort of stuff, they have those courses. So make sure to check them out, link in the description below. Subscribe for more, hit that notification bell, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and thanks for watching.